Welcome back, everybody. So we have some big news. There's been a move or a new pattern, I should say, that we've seen, and we are primed for a breakout on the Bitcoin chart. So make sure you stick around and find out exactly what our predictions are going to be in terms of where that's going. So massive stuff. First things first, I do want to say hello, Mr. AJ. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. Yes, as you said, we do have this new pattern. It could be an immense breakout for Bitcoin, which is great. This could
Yeah.
happen within the next week or the next or next week. So this is really exciting, and yeah, we'll get onto that in a moment.
Yes, absolutely. But I'm going to quickly jump in to I'll show you something right along here. Get rid of this banner for now. Just want to show you. So yes, we're going to be looking at some key support and resistance levels, but this was something I thought was actually quite interesting from William Suberg here on Coin Telegraph. So can it get any easier? Bitcoin whales dictate when to buy and sell Bitcoin. So the overall idea is whales buying and selling has effectively told traders how to position their bids and ask, data has revealed. Now, the idea is, according to on-chain analysis from Whale Map, Bitcoin whales have all but dictated market performance in recent weeks. Now, here's the actual tweet. What Whale Map has said, can it get any easier than this? Find a big whale bubble, draw resistance, set and fill order, wait for Bitcoin. Which, I mean, when you do look at some of these data points, they're not too far wrong. So it does
No.
seem to kind of hold up in theory. Now, one of the other things that I also want to mention is that, because of this, there is no volume. So it is very liable. Any asset class with low volume and low market cap is liable to be almost kind of manipulated, which is kind of what's happening here. So much so that there's also been another quote, so another report, as mentioned, about one entity on Binance. Now, this Binance whale has marked every local top or bottom for the last 2 weeks. Popular analyst Credible Crypto added in a new Twitter comments on June 8th. That's today. So been watching him come and go, accumulating at the lows, capping price at the highs. Most recently filled 2,000 Bitcoin, $60 million at the local lows of 29.2K before this pump we are seeing now, which is just crazy when you think about it. And you can kind of see that here around 29.2K. That's where we see that, that massive pump that he's mentioning there. So I want to have a look at this on kind of the technicals. What are we looking at here, AJ? We'll bring ourselves onto your screen because we have identified this new pattern. And I
Yeah.
want you to explain exactly what that might mean for everybody as investors and traders.
Yeah. So as you said, we're in this sort of range right now, and we're finding nice support. I've been talking about this support level for a while now, but as you said, we have found this new pattern and this new range that we are trading within. That is these two yellow lines that I've drawn in for you here, and this is actually a falling channel pattern. And I did want to mention it in a previous video, but we'd only tested the resistance twice and only tested the support twice as well. And for it to be, sort of a solid, confirmed pattern, I would like to see 3 tests of the resistance and 3 tests of the support. And as of yesterday and this morning, we have had those tests of those third tests of the resistance and of the support. So as you can see at the top, we have had those 2 previous tests of the resistance, and as of this morning, late last night, this morning, we have come for that. It was only a wick, but we have had that initial third test of the resistance. Again with the support, we've had those 2 tests down here, and yesterday we did have that initial retest of the support, again bouncing off it very nicely, coming all the way up to the resistance at the very top of this new falling channel. Now, the next move for me for Bitcoin that I'm looking at is for Bitcoin to break out of this channel. We know it's confirmed because we've had so many touches of the resistance and the support. So we know that when we see a breakout, the confirmation that we will hit one of these price targets is going to be pretty likely, because you can clearly see here that this is the new range that Bitcoin is trading in. Sort of on the shorter time frame. We know that Bitcoin is trading within this bigger range. This support down here, and then this resistance up here, which I drew about 2 videos ago. This new resistance level. We've had lots of resistance here, lots of resistance here. So if we do break out of this smaller pattern that I have, just drawn for you here, this would give us a bullish target. It is a bullish pattern because it's a falling channel. So there's a higher probability that we will break to the upside. Now, if we do break to the upside, this will give us an approximate price target of around $33,600. That's great for Bitcoin. If we were to break to the upside, we do have to take into consideration this resistance level here. That may be a challenge. That may be a challenge for Bitcoin to break that level, because we have, been rejected at this level, a number of times. So Bitcoin will have to, break above this resistance. We may find, a bit of difficulty. We could come back down and retest the previous resistance, which will then act as support, and then potentially break it. Hopefully, then finding support along this resistance level here, which will, if we do break it, will be support. So that's the bullish case if we did break to the upside. However, we have to factor in the bearish scenario. There is a chance that we could break to the downside. That could give us an approximate target of $26,400. That would break this support level that I've been talking about for a while now, and that would almost definitely also break this major support level that I've been looking at here as well, which would be incredibly bearish for Bitcoin. And as I've been saying in the previous videos, that would most likely bring us down to 24,000, 22,000. But as of right now, we are just sat in the middle of this falling channel. So hopefully we can break to the upside. But I will be keeping you updated on this chart, because this is something that I am personally going to be trading if we do, either break to the upside or break to the downside. So,
can I add in there something for this? Like, because the thing is, we're going to be needing, some kind of big fundamental move, aren't we? That's really going to be the thing that moves this, because, yes, currently it's a technical pattern, but we've seen that, sometimes the technicals are not always playing out recently, just because of everything that's happening.
A lot of fake out.
Exactly, and even how we got ourselves into this kind of scenario of trading around about that 32 to 28 or 29K, within that level, it's mainly been because of these fundamental moves. So, we have to be aware of those. And I mean, I'll quickly just go into, I know we want to have a look at this, this Solana trade that you went through, and we'll show everybody that soon. But just while we're on some of the fundamentals, have a look at this here, where this is just a visual capitalist, great website if you want to look at, kind of essentially like the markets or money or anything like this in a good way. But this indicates the best months for stock market gains. This was over a period of just under 30 years, so 87 to 18. So these are the typical frequency of stock market rising each month. So June has always been the worst. Now, typically, that's because some believe that the institutional traders go on holiday during the summer, because why not? You want to get away. And so there's less volume during that June period. And so then it kind of spikes a little bit in July, and then, August, everyone goes back to normal. And then that's when you have the usual markets. But this is just to show you that within the traditional stock market, there has always been less trading volume and liquidity in the market, and that's typically why we see some of the pullbacks there. And then finally, because we're talking about some of the fundamental moves and what might actually move Bitcoin, I just want to touch on this headline from Bloomberg: US futures slip, and that's today, on inflation. So if you guys were following us on Twitter, we actually posted that earlier on, the Royal Bank of India, or India's central bank, I should say, the RBI, they announced a higher than expected rate hike. So that was 50 basis points. People were then thinking, looking at Poland. What are they going to do? What is the European Union going to do tomorrow? So that's another question. And then we have the CPI data from the US on Friday. Now, this meant that people got a bit scared. They all went towards buying treasuries. So the yield of US treasuries, those went down to hit 3%. And that's what gave strength to the dollar. And then also that's another indication of why Bitcoin, in fact, is kind of taking that little bit of a tumble and not really able to break out for now.
Yeah.
So I just want to drop that in
Yeah.
there. And as you can see, contracts on S&P and Nasdaq signals a pause following 2 days of gains in the underlying indices.
And I just want to go back on what you said just a minute ago about the during the time of July, we don't really see June and July. We don't really see much volume at all. And if I show you my chart again, so last year, 2021, what we saw was that big pullback from the all-time highs, and throughout the course of May, we saw the price absolutely tank towards the downside, and then we saw consolidation towards the end of May, June, and sort of the start of July, and then we started to see the price increase pretty substantially towards the end of July, going into the start of August. That's exactly what we are seeing now. If I show you what's happening now, so 2022, over the course of May, the start of May, we saw that pretty substantial pullback. Then, throughout the course of May, we were consolidating. June, consolidating again, and then this just signals to me that we could consolidate throughout the rest of June, and then maybe a little bit throughout the start of July, and then we could then potentially start seeing those moves. And that correlates perfectly with what I mentioned in yesterday's video as well. This diamond pattern I've been looking at, we've seen one on the 1 hour, and an inverse one, which was a bearish one. This is a bullish one. We've had the big move, we've had the consolidation, the big moves in the middle, and now we are looking to get that consolidation. And that would take us towards the end of June, where we could then potentially get the breakout, and then maybe the start of July, we could then start seeing the price to increase. That would be great. And that would, if history repeats itself, that's exactly what could happen. I know it looks, we're seeing a lot less volume as of right now than we did last year. But if history repeats itself, this could happen. This correlates perfectly with this diamond pattern that I've told you about in yesterday's video. So if you missed that, make sure to watch yesterday's stream as well, where I go into depth about this. But this is something that could be happening. So start of July, that's when we could start to see the price actually increase and come up to my target that I've been wanting Bitcoin to come up to, which is between $35,000 to $37,000, because I think that we are in need for that relief bounce. And I think 35, 37,000 is a pretty realistic target, because we have seen so much downside, because we're seeing that consolidation. I think that relief bounce is going to be in play. And I think like what you said, the volume throughout those months, there isn't much. So I think July, maybe end of July, we could start seeing those big moves, and that could take us up to that resistance level that I've been talking about.
Oh, I absolutely hope so. I absolutely hope so. And it does seem to line up. Obviously there is a lot of FUD in the market at the moment.
Yeah.
So if that diamond platinum pays out, it could be very, very good indeed. Could be good indeed.
Hopefully history does repeat itself. But I also just want to touch on this Solana trade that I've been talking about. So starting off with the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is in this resistance area that I've been talking about for a while, and we have previously seen rejections from this level. Now, over the next few years, I do anticipate that the dominance for Bitcoin, is going to slowly start to continue to decrease as some of these altcoins do outperform Bitcoin. But as of right now, we are in that resistance level now, and there is a high possibility that we could see a rejection from this level if we don't see any more downside for Bitcoin. If we see more downside, then there's a high chance that we could break out of this resistance level, find it a support, and then continue to the upside. But if this is the bottom, okay, if we've already found the bottom for Bitcoin, then there is a pretty high possibility that we will get a rejection from this level. Now, when we get a rejection from this level, that will signal, sort of an altcoin season for us. And that's when we can start looking at getting in to some of the altcoins. And one of the altcoins that I'm looking at getting into pretty heavily is Solana. I'm a big fan of Solana, and there's a big trade, a big potential trade that could play out. Now, this is on the daily, so it's pretty creditable. So we have this falling wedge. I think I mentioned it before, and we've seen lots of resistance along this top trend line here. Just confirming that this is, a very strong resistance level. We found lots of support along this level, confirming there's lots of support there. So if we do break to the upside here, and we do see a rejection from this resistance level here, then I will be taking this trade on Solana, because I think this is going to be a pretty good trade for us. We can put a number of TPs in. We can put like the first TP at 47. We put another TP at potentially 53, and then another TP at around maybe $58. And then we could leave a little bit in there just to see if we do come up and test this previous support level here, which is going to act as resistance. See if we can make it all the way up there. But we are, going to get a bit of a struggle to break through that, I do believe. So that is, the potential Solana trade that I'll be keeping you updated on. We could, be in this wedge for maybe another week. So, it might not play out as soon as I want it to. But it is a waiting game. Quickly again, I just want to move on to the Nasdaq and the S&P. We are seeing a slight rise in the Nasdaq and S&P. I know we still have that red candle on the Nasdaq. If I do just zoom in a little bit, but you can see that we are sort of increasing quite nicely. We have, from this week, we have increased around 2%. So if we can continue to increase, I think this is going to be good for the crypto market as well. Same with the S&P. We've seen a nice, almost 2% this week. So if Bitcoin seems to lag behind the S&P and the Nasdaq just a little bit. We had this pretty big pump here on the S&P and the Nasdaq. And we did see Bitcoin actually lag behind a little bit. So, because we're getting this pump during the middle of this week, we are, seeing the Nasdaq and the S&P continue to increase. Then there is a potential that Bitcoin is just lagging behind like it has the last time, and we could see the price pump up again for Bitcoin. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and I think the lag at this stage, historically, it's always been very close, more so to the Nasdaq as opposed to the S&P. But I think we're probably a couple of weeks, maybe I'm going to say even maybe a month behind, and I think that is because at the moment there's just so many kind of crazy circumstances that and also you have to consider earnings. Bitcoin doesn't have earnings. It doesn't have forecasts. It doesn't, it doesn't have the PE ratios that affect, companies in the Nasdaq, for example. So I think that is one reason why, there is a little bit more volatility in there. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The mindset of the people who have the most money and move the markets the most, they see Nasdaq and Bitcoin as fairly similar assets. Which, I mean, they're speculative. You're not buying the value for now, you're buying the growth value, which is the same in both instances. But I do like that correlation. And someone commented earlier and said it was annoying because of everything's kind of going down at the moment. But yeah, I would say for this week, guys, when you are looking to trade, just watch out for Friday. There's the CPI data. Right now, tomorrow, people are wondering what the EU are going to do in terms of raising interest rates. And then that's going to be a big thing. But then also the Fed have priced in, or the market has priced in, the Fed's interest rate hike, 50 basis points June, 50 July, and then probably another 50 in September. And so, if the CPI comes in crazy hot, that's going to send the market down. So if the CPI is a lot, then the Fed will have to take drastic action, and then that's going to raise interest rates very high or increase the quantitative tightening and sell everything very quickly, and both of those will crash the market. So watch out for that on Friday. It's going to be a similar story. I think volume will be quite low across all of the markets this week. So just watch out for that, as everyone's worried about global inflation at the moment. It's kind of the number one story.
Yeah, and hopefully we see next month the price increase like we did last year. That would be great, I think, for Bitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. The thing is that we are like that diamond chart that we have. That pattern would lead. I mean, just to quickly bring that up. I mean, where did we fall from? 40,000. So it's usually that the same that goes down goes up. Or the percentage,
and that's what. That's right.
Yeah.
And sort of the move, you could say, it started around 47,000, but we had this consolidation here. So I would say personally, just to be a little bit more reservative, I'd say 40,000. Yeah. So we could see the price come up, but we do have that strong resistance here, so we do have to look out for that. But yeah.
Yeah, well, stay tuned, guys. We will make sure that we keep you up to date with everything in terms of what's going on with the general crypto market, and also where we are going to be, finding opportunities ourselves, like in that Solana chart.
Yeah. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Stay tuned. Slap that like button.
Make sure you smash the like button.
Helps us. Yeah, helps us out greatly.
Exactly. We appreciate it. Take care, guys. See you tomorrow.